The Sith Lords Darth Maul and Darth Vader had their fates intertwined as Darth Sidious orchestrated the ascension of the dark side and the destruction of the Jedi Order. Maul, the first apprentice of Sidious, was a truly fearsome warrior, regarded by his master as one of the greatest swordsmen in the history of the Sith Order. On Naboo in 32 BBY, Darth Maul fought Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Duel of the Fates. The outcome of this legendary duel determined the fate of Anakin Skywalker, cementing his destiny of becoming Vader when Maul killed Qui-Gon. 13 years later, Anakin became the third apprentice of Sidious, taking the name of Vader and destroying the Jedi Order. In canon, we know that Maul knew of Sidious's plans to convert Anakin and had attempted to intervene during the Siege of Mandalore in the Clone Wars. In the years following the rise of the Empire, Maul would clash with the Inquisitors, but he did not come face to face with Vader. However, did you know that in Legends, Maul and Vader did have a legendary duel to see who would serve as the true apprentice of Sidious? The story begins in 0 BBY, just before the Battle of Yavin, on the moon of Calacar 6. There, we find members of the cult known as the Prophets of the Dark Side. This group was founded by Darth Millennial, who disagreed with Darth Bane's rule of two. The Prophets would use the Force and Sith alchemy to view possible outcomes of the future and manipulate events in the galaxy. In this case, they had come to form their own opinions on the reigning Sith Lords, Darth Sidious and Darth Vader. From the surface of the moon, they watched a descending Imperial shuttle. As the shuttle landed and stormtroopers took their positions, Vader exited the ship. He had received information from Imperial informants claiming that rebels were moving the stolen plans of the Death Star on this site. As Vader issued orders to the stormtrooper captain, he suddenly sensed something familiar in the Force and proceeded to explore the surrounding area. The remaining stormtroopers scouted nearby, but in the volcanic fog, they were picked off one by one, killed by a dark figure wielding a red lightsaber. Eventually, they were all dead, leaving only the two troopers that had followed Vader to a mysterious fortress. Entering the chamber, Vader noted that this place was strong with the dark side. One of the troopers claimed to know the history of the moon. 100 years earlier, an aristocrat named Baron Yorn left Coruscant and came to Calacar 6 with his followers, believing it was a focal point for the dark side of the Force. Yorn and his followers built the fortress to conduct experiments on the dark side, which is actually really similar to the research of Darth Plagueis. However, all of Yorn's followers disappeared, and Yorn went insane and tore out his eyes and tongue. Suddenly, both troopers began to cough and choke, and they believed that Vader was killing them with the Force, begging him to stop. Only it wasn't Vader. Igniting his saber, Vader challenged the invisible enemy to show themselves. From the shadows came the cultists, who told Vader they would not harm him, and they had brought him there. Vader realized that the intel about the Death Star plans had simply been a ruse to lure him into their trap. The cultists revealed that they had deemed Vader unworthy to serve as the Sith apprentice of Sidious, because he was once the Jedi Anakin Skywalker. Vader angrily replied that Skywalker was gone, but the cultists claimed that they had observed Vader for a long time, and they knew that too much of Anakin remained inside of him, a spark of light that had not been extinguished. They told Vader he was not of the bloodline of Darth Bane and was not fit to serve Sidious. Finally, Vader had had enough and swung with his saber to cut them down, but his blade was blocked by another lightsaber, and Vader was shocked to see Darth Maul standing before him. Vader was confused, recalling how Maul was slain years before, and said this could not be him. But the cultists replied that there were ways those who were no more could live again, which is really just a lamer way of saying the dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. The cultists said there were ways to create and mold an individual if the hate was strong enough, and they had took it upon themselves to resurrect a proper apprentice for Sidious using Sith alchemy. Immediately, Vader asked if the Emperor knew of this test, and the cultists replied that he didn't, but he would be pleased when he learned of their gift. They said it was a tragedy when Maul was killed by a Jedi, but now he was resurrected and would replace Vader as Sidious's right hand. The cultists told Vader that he presented a great risk to the dark side, and that the dominance of the Sith could not depend upon one who was trained by Obi-Wan Kenobi, the very Jedi who had killed Maul. Vader simply replied that there was nothing of Obi-Wan left in him, and that the cultists had miscalculated and he would not allow it. Then he engaged Maul in a duel. As their blades clashed, Vader said that Maul was dead and the figure before him was just a sham. But Maul delivered a powerful kick and said that Vader was the sham, calling him a Jedi. Maul said that he could see it within Vader, a lone light in the darkness that he refused to extinguish. Maul claimed that his darkness and hatred was unending. He called Vader an imposter, hiding his unworthiness behind a mask. Their duel proceeded down onto a narrow lava river, much like Mustafar, as Maul recited his past lessons from Sidious. Watching from above, the cultists were surprised to observe that Maul and Vader were more evenly matched than they had anticipated, but they still believed that Maul would win, because Vader had too much light in him. Below, Maul was able to slash Vader's belly open, exposing sparks and the machinery of his cybernetics, but Vader still leapt at him with confidence. Maul continued taunting him, asking how he could be a fit servant for Sidious when he was more machine than man. How could a machine hate? Vader was then able to slice Maul's blade in two, just as Obi-Wan had on Naboo, but both sides remained operational this time. As their blades locked, Vader attempted to hold one of Maul's arms back, but Maul swiftly slashed the top of Vader's helmet, causing Vader to yell in pain. As Vader knelt on the ground, Maul called him Skywalker and said he would not have a Jedi funeral pyre. As Maul aimed to deliver a killing blow, Vader quickly summoned his own saber with the Force and ignited the blade, stabbing himself through the stomach, impaling both him and Maul. Maul screamed in pain as the blade stabbed through both of them, and he weakly asked what Vader could have hated enough to defeat him. In maybe one of the best Darth Vader lines ever, Vader just responded, "Myself." Letting Maul's dead body disappear into the lava, Vader leapt upwards to confront the cultists, who couldn't believe that he had been victorious. But before he could kill them, they were all struck down by Sith lightning, and Vader saw the Emperor standing before him. Sidious stated that he had followed Vader's shuttle, hoping to retrieve the Death Star plans alongside him. But Vader revealed that it had all been a trap perpetrated by the cultists, who had somehow resurrected Darth Maul. Sidious was not surprised or concerned about this, regarding the cultists as heretics who thought they could provide a superior apprentice for him. After a moment, Vader asked his master if he had known about any of this. Sidious replied that he had not, and then said they had much work to do, like finding the Death Star plans, and commanded Vader to follow him. Rising from a kneeling posture, after waiting a moment, Vader obeyed his master, following him back to the Imperial shuttle. Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and may the Force be with you.